Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go with them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, you're going to go story title: Wife wants to back out divorce that she filed. Not sure it's worth giving it a second shot. And guys, this story's about a guy. He's 37 years old, wife's 34, and as the title said, out of nowhere, she wanted to divorce and was going to try to take the guy to the cleaners. But now, suddenly, she's back and wants to give the marriage a second chance, the begging, the pleading, all that drama. And we all know darn well what happened here. Clearly, she discovered the grass ain't greener on the other side. In terms of probably the lifestyle she'd had post-divorce, in terms of she's not as attractive as she once was, so she probably can't get guys like she thought she was, that type of thing. And our guy here gets to have the last laugh, and while he is torn on some issues, I think he's seeing the bigger picture and the reality here. And I'll be going to go over here, guys, that if you see a lot of problems in your marriage and your wife suddenly wants to kick you to the curb, or girlfriend dumps you with no remorse and she's gone on the warpath against you, there's no taking them back, okay? And if they suddenly come back, it's because what they wanted didn't work out. End of story. And I know it's tempting to stand up for the kids and all that, but it's not good to hold on to a bad situation. And typically, guys, get to enjoy the last lap because ultimately they always come back as long as their lives are crap. So it says here, he starts off, he says here, my wife, a 34-year-old female, wants to back out of the divorce that she filed. My wife, at 12 years, decided to divorce me earlier this year. 12 years. So he's 37, they got married 25 years old, and she was 23. Way too freaking young. We did marriage counseling and just about everything else you can do to save the marriage. I love my wife, but she apparently fell out of love with me 3 years ago, according to her. We separated in March of this year. The separation was recommended by the marriage counselor after everything else failed. Why even bother marriage counseling if she flat out says, I'm not in love with you? Now, unless that was court-ordered or something like that, which is in some places. She checked out, she was done. And he says that he loves her. No, this guy loves who he thinks she is. It was supposed to, I guess, show us our marriage from a different angle by being separated. I ended up moving out of the house, and quite honestly, I was much happier living by myself. Well, that ought to tell you everything, my man. Even though he has daughters with her, he's happier on his own. I told my wife that I wouldn't file for divorce, and if she wanted to go down that route, she can file. In May, she finally filed for divorce. Honestly, I completely expected it coming after the separation experiment. Well, dude, again, clearly there's a big problem here. I was hoping for a simple divorce. Anybody who's been married and divorced and gone through hell is laughing at that. Like we talked about before we separated. We didn't have a prenup in place since we basically both didn't have that much when we got married. They always say it doesn't matter how much you love or mutual respect for your spouse, because during divorce, there are no limits. She initially wanted the house, her car, the full custody of our daughters, $4,000 a month in child support, and a 6-figure alimony. Well, how about the fillings out of his teeth? Anything else? Oh my God. Miss Easy, smooth divorce, huh? $4,000 a month for child support, and on top of that, enough for a 6-figure salary, and the house, and full custody. Yeah, this sounds like she really likes this guy so much, cares so much. Remember the whole simple divorce line he had? My wife doesn't work since she's a full-time stay-at-home mom. I was never going to leave her without anything, but it sort of hurt me that she would try to get all these things knowing well that I would have barely anything left afterwards. She doesn't care. I guarantee her lawyer and probably some of her harpy friends convinced her, you earned it. You deserve it. He's a big jerk. Blah, blah, blah. You still love her? Anyway, the lawyers have been negotiating for some time, and I haven't had much contact with my wife unless it's about the girls. Good. You shouldn't have any contact. Why have contact with her? Last night, my wife called me asking me if I would go to dinner because she wanted to talk. I accepted, and we met for dinner at a restaurant. She expressed that she wanted to give our marriage another try. Huh. Well, where did that come from? After all, she's the one that says she hasn't loved him for 3 years, and she's going to the mattresses in terms of the divorce. Why all of a sudden the change of heart? Well, I think we all know why. She expressed that she wanted to give our marriage another try. Her reasoning was that she was in a dark place before, and now she understands that she was the problem. She took 100% responsibility for our problems, which is very out of character for her. Dark place, huh? Where do you think this guy, what kind of place this guy's been in all these years when you've been in the dark place? Did she ever go to her husband looking for help? Because I guarantee it would have helped her. Did she go to therapy? Did she do anything other than, probably what she was doing behind the scenes? I think we all know what's going on here. She thought she could do better. She thought she could monkey branch, and she probably somehow blamed her dark place on this guy, right? And by the way, notice he said here, it's out of character for her to take responsibility for her actions. So she's one of these people that she's always right, never apologizes. He says, ever since I've known her, she doesn't apologize like ever. She also said that our daughters miss living together, which I guess is true. After dinner, she wanted to come back to my place, but I told her it wasn't a good idea. Good, dude. It's not a good idea. So she's now going to try the waterworks and probably try to seduce him to get her way. I told her that I would have to think about it. Smack! No, dude, there's no thinking about this. She started crying and begging me to come back. Eventually, she calmed down and we went our separate ways. Of course, when it doesn't work, when the seduction tactics don't work, crying and begging. They're masters at this, guys. A few months ago, I would have agreed to trying without hesitation, but after the divorce process, I'm not so sure anymore. Listen to that part of your brain that's telling you that. It's that way for a reason. The other thing is, I know she's been on dates since our separation. Uh-huh. She hasn't wasted any time. Now we're getting somewhere. Guess it ain't so rosy out there. She told one of our mutual friends who told her husband who told me. I personally haven't dated anyone because our divorce hasn't been finalized. Also, I'm enjoying living single with just my daughters. Notice he emphasized that again. I'm enjoying being away from her. On my own. And he's with the girls when he has them, he has a great time. Because remember, she's been in a dark place for years. And I might add, by the way, he'll mention later on, in like 3 or 4 years, they've had sex like 3 or 4 times. Let that sink in, guys. Imagine not getting any for all that time period. I'm sure before they got married, he was getting plenty. Ideally, I would like to save the marriage for the sake of my daughters. Smack. And the love for my wife. Smack. Dude, she's not who you think she is. She doesn't love you. The only reason she wants to come back is because she realized her life's going to be pretty shitty without you. It's not about you. Probably she realized that it's not going to be so great financially, even though she's asking for all that. And guess what? She can't get guys like she thought. No. And guess what? Your daughters will be fine. But at the same time, I don't want to just waste time ending up in the same current situation again. My daughters prefer staying with me over their mom. Ding, ding, ding. I never said anything negative about their mom to my daughters, and I try to leave them out of it completely. If you had any experience in trying to make your marriage work, again, for round 2 with a positive or negative impact, is it worth revisiting, or do I just have to cut my losses and move on? Now, he's asking that question, and I'm going to go into more of the story here. Bro, you can't take her back. Okay, look at the divorce process that's supposed to be simple, how she was treating you. She was going to take you for everything you had, and with no remorse. You really want to go back to that? You take her back after this, guess what's going to happen? She's going to treat you worse. She's going to treat you worse. After all the begging and pleading and all that, treat you worse. If you got sex 4 times in 3 years, now it's going to be 4 times in 8 years. And she'll be looking for your replacement. And her lack of any amount of respect she has in you is going to be gone after that. No. And you said that flat out your daughters prefer being with you anyway. And look how much fun you're having being on your own, as you pointed out. Come on, dude. Now, there were lots of comments in the comments section telling him, don't go back to her. You're out of your mind, brother. Well, he listened. And now he had a very long update comment to his situation here. He says, I'm going to be honest, before posting this, I was seriously considering making things work with her again. But after reading all the comments, I'm leaning towards walking away and continuing with the divorce proceedings. Thank the Lord. This is where Reddit saves the day. I just don't see it working, especially after what she wanted initially. I can look past wanting the house, money, or both of the cars, but wanting full custody of my daughters is what still messes with me. Yeah, she was taking away your kids. The last 3 years, she's checked out of their marriage, and being a parent, I drop my daughters off at school, pick them up, and take them to their sports and extracurricular activities. I know she sees a therapist, but she's changed a lot. The woman from the past 3 years is not the woman I married. Exactly. I'm not sure what caused all this, and if she's sick, I wouldn't mind helping her get better. Well, sounds like she needs to get a fucking job, get a career, something. No, it's not that she's sick. I think she's just now the middle-aged suburban housewife mom who's unhappy. I mean, there's a stereotype about the middle-aged suburban housewife moms that are on antidepressants and get unhappy with their lives and then divorce their husbands thinking the grass is greener and they still got it. That stereotype is far and wide, guys. It's not your problem. I know she's the mother of your daughters, so you have some level of sympathy, or sympathy because, she was the girl you fell in love with a long time ago. That girl is gone. Even if that girl who you fell in love with a long time ago and married was actually who she was, which I doubt. Anyhow, says here, a lot of people want to know what she said that last night. We had a normal conversation over dinner. She asked me how I'd been and how work was going. She just made regular small talk in the restaurant, and I asked what was the actual purpose of this dinner. And she said that she missed me. That's when she started getting really emotional. No, things didn't work out with the guy that she really wanted, that she was going to throw it all away with. Or she just simply couldn't attract the type of guys that she thought she could get, maybe she could have gotten, when they were younger. Maybe her lawyer made her realize you're not going to get everything you want, and you're not going to be financially where you once were in that comfortable life that he provided. So now she's back crying and begging. It has nothing to do with this guy. SSM, you're so cynical. Yes, I am fucking cynical, because I'm almost 47 goddamn motherfucking years old, gentlemen. And I've been around the block. And not to mention all these stories I've heard. So yes, I am cynical, but come on here. We went outside to her car, and that's when the apology came about how she was so sorry for ruining our marriage. She said she'd been in a dark place, but she didn't elaborate on that. I felt like she wanted to say a lot more, but the tears got in the way. Of course, because she knows that she does enough blubbering and crying and going full-on Tuscan Raider and you can't understand what the fuck she's saying, they'll probably cave and take her back. And guess what? He was thinking that. We sat in that car for at least an hour. That's a long time to listen to her blubber and Babylon and Tuscan Raider talk. I'll be honest, I did hold her to comfort her. Smack! God. And there still was love there. No, there wasn't. I don't know what it was that kept me from spending the night with her. I don't know, your brain? I thought about it all night, and the feeling was not that my wife, mother, my children needed me, but instead I abandoned her. You didn't abandon her. Are you fucking kidding me? Or telling her to go home? Yeah, because he told her to go home after this. He didn't abandon her. Look at everything she's done to you. I have zero proof or sign she cheated before the separation. I could just be clueless because I don't really have the personality to question her and be suspicious. Now, you are clueless, dude. I'm sorry, but you are. I don't know who she's been with since the separation or how far their relationship ever went. A lot of y'all said she might be pregnant, which is interesting because my close friend who I'm staying with also said that. Yep, that's a possibility. Chad and Tyrone that she was hooking up with, I'm not raising that kid. I don't know and don't want to jump in any conclusions. The last 3 years of our marriage, we had sex 4 times. 4 times, gentlemen. Process that. I don't know what her true intentions were last night, but I learned today from my daughter that my wife arranged for her sister to watch them for the night. I don't know what that was all about. Dude, come on here. Pull your head out of your butt. The reason your wife had her sister watch your daughters the whole night is because your wife thought she could successfully seduce you back at your place, sleep with you, and, oh, well, gee whiz, I'm pregnant. Meanwhile, that's Chad Tyrone's baby you're carrying, or that's the UPS driver's baby. Or just simply just sleep with you just to rope you back in. That was a plan. You cannot trust her. I truly do love the woman even after all this. Smack! No, you don't. You love who you thought she was. This is not her. Don't be a fool. 15 years together and being married for 12 is a long time. We were together when we were both broke college kids who suffered 2 miscarriages but somehow stayed strong and made it past that. Even this is the end of our marriage, I don't regret any of it. I got my 2 beautiful daughters out of the marriage. My thoughts are all over the place. Thanks, everyone. Bro, I get this is nuts. I get your life's being turned upside down, and it's emotional. You don't want to hurt your daughters. And yeah, you did get your daughters out of her, so that's something positive out of this thing. But she is not who you think she is. Okay? Your love for her is for someone that you thought she once was. Or maybe who she once was, but she changed. I don't know. But this whole thing's a big fucking setup. Look how she's going to take you to the cleaners. Take your daughters from you? amongst all the other things, and you've done nothing wrong. Unless you've done something wrong and you're hiding it, which I don't think you are. You didn't deserve this. But she doesn't care. She is heartless. And she's only wanting you back for her own selfish reasons. And it is possible she's pregnant. So I would back away completely, because eventually nature's going to take its course and her stomach's going to start getting a lot bigger. Unless she's wearing if she starts wearing big baggy clothes to disguise her stomach, that'll tell you everything. No. Continue on with the divorce proceedings and move on. Okay? You're 37. You're 10 years younger than me. You got your still plenty of life to live. Your prime is really just starting. Get your shit together. Even if you take a hit in the divorce, you're a man. You can fucking get through this and survive and build something even better. Just be very careful who you put your trust in the future, because this guy's obviously a relationship guy. So there you go, guys. Perfect example. Although she didn't say that to him, like, oh, the dating scene's really terrible, or this is this. We can all read between the lines that clearly this is not what she expected, and now she's back to the guy. So I'm doing this, guys, to show you that when things are bad, they always come back, and don't fall for it, okay? You know, if she wasn't trying to take him to the cleaners like that, and there were other things involved, maybe there's a slight possibility he could, like, kind of look at this from a different angle. But given she showed her hand, she showed her cards, no, absolutely do not take her back. Now a few comments here. One guy says, my take. Your wife has already shown she doesn't love you. She put herself and her desires ahead of you, your marriage, and your children. She thought she could do better, and upon realizing she can't, wants to come back to her old life like she didn't just rip your heart out and hurt your kids. Yeah, remember that, guys. She also hurt the children, too. Think about that. Taking her back would cause some problems. Number one, you would damage your self-respect. Number two, she would lose all respect for you and likely treat you like a doormat for the rest of your relationship. 3, she will leave again when she thinks she found someone better. And 4, you'll be teaching your kids that her behavior is acceptable. Thank you. Couldn't have said better myself. Here's another one. This is from a woman. A woman. She says, as a former stay-at-home mom who just went through the divorce that I initiated, don't do it. My guess is that the ongoing negotiations with the lawyers have opened her eyes to the reality of a divorce settlement. In order to keep the house, she probably has to buy you out or be forced to sell. Child support, alimony, a lot of the states have calculations these days that cap the amount of certain limit and percentage. I think in most places, child support legally can't be more than 20% of your income, for example. The reality is that you can't expect to maintain 2-income lifestyle on only one, especially when it's passive. For me, my ex was abusive. Well, they all say that, but maybe he was. And it was worth getting out of the situation to make adjustments to my life. Seems like she had it pretty cushy and is maybe realizing the grass is still greener where you are. I've been happy on my own too. Chase that feeling. It's so much better than being unappreciated. And there was another comment, but we all get the point here. But anyhow, guys, there you go. So when you have a woman reading this and saying the same freaking thing I'm saying, like, no, do not go back to her. It's a terrible idea. There you go. So, guys, they always come back, and you can always enjoy that satisfaction, but just don't be crazy. So, if you guys happen to see any updates he posts about this, what he does, what he chooses, let me know. But I think reality will set in, and he will not take her back. But anyhow, guys, I do this story just to make sure any of you guys in a situation like this don't take the girl back, because it ain't about you. It's about they're missing out on that lifestyle you once provided. And they simply aren't desired or wanted anymore like they once were. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.